This is our third week on Meseches Kinim. The first week, I translated the Pedic for you, and I gave you my own personal proposal, if you could remember, with the week before Purim. My own personal proposal is that this is the tefillah that Goyim are going to say after Mashiach comes. That was my argument, and my basis for it was that in this entire capital, it never once says Shem Havaya, it never says Yud Kei Vav Ki, only Shem Elikim, and it doesn't even say Elikenu, except for once. And I told you in my own personal fantasy that after Mashiach comes, Goyim are going to have their own Siddur. And in their Siddur, on a very special occasion, they're not going to say Elikim, they're going to say Elikenu, our God. And in this Pedic, the word Elikim appears how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The word Elikim 5 times, and 1 time the word Elikenu. So in the class of 2 times ago, that's how I presented it to you. Last week, I gave you 5 different insights from 5 different Sfarim, basically. This capital has to do with the Menorah. This capital has to do with Birchas Kohanim. This capital has to do with Moshe Rabbeinu's negotiating with HaKadosh Baruch Hu about the Yonam of Nevuah, about the special intimacy between Yidden and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And one of them was this idea that in this capital there's emphasis on Pnei Elikim, on the face of God. So Rabbi said, here's what's going to happen. Okay, my introductions are over. In the first 2 weeks that we learned this, we sort of set the stage. We're actually ready to learn the capital inside, but I suspect that today it's not going to happen. In other words, now that we're finished with introductions, we're ready to start the capital, and I'm going to give you another introduction. And I'll tell you how I mean this. As I always tell you, I'm not an expert on Siddur. I'm not. I'm 1 week ahead of you. In other words, when I'm teaching you something, I get up early in the morning and I take out my books, I make my copies, and I do my research. These are my notes. These are my notes on this little paragraph. And I write notes, and what I do over time is I read various different mefarshim. I read a bunch of different opinions. Rishonim, Achreinim, Mekubalim, and then of course Chasidus. And after I finish with all of that, I try to come up with one pirush. This is what I try to do. In other words, based on all the information that I've collected from the different Svarim, I try to come to you and I say, listen, I'm not giving you 50 different opinions. We're going to be learning this Pedic, and we're going to be learning this Pedic with one approach, one gisha, one approach, and that this one approach is, I guess the right word is distilled, is boiled down, is cooked down from all the different things that I read and all the different things that I discovered and sort of developed over the research period that I did. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. This capital, we're going to be learning based on my own conclusions. That's the bad part. I'm telling you my understanding, my own conclusions of this capital, based on the research that I did, which of course is written in many Sfarim, including, and I guess I should say honestly, especially Chassidus. There's enough Chassidus in this capital. There's not Chassidus in every word, but there's enough Chassidus in this capital to help you flush out the capital. So from here forward, I'm not giving you different interpretations. I'm going to be giving you one interpretation of the Pedic, one interpretation of the capital, based on the research that I did. Now remember one thing. I tell this to you in every class, Kemat. Right? The most important thing you have to know about davening, in terms of learning the davening, is that davening is like real estate. Location, location, location. Where something has everything to do with what it's about. Now, Meseches Kinim is said during the weekdays, not on Shabbos and Yom Tov. We don't do like the Beis Yosef, as I explained to you last week. During the weekdays, before Baruch She'amar. Before Baruch She'amar. But after Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Yimlech, right? The previous shtikela that we learned earlier this year was Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Yimlech Levad, V'ayad Hashem L'malcha Kol Ha'aretz B'yem Hu Yiyad Hashem Echad Shmei Echad Shi'enu, right? We learned it this year. This year, right? This is our third. Didn't we learn Meseches Kinim last year? We learned Hashem Melech this year, correct? So a bunch of weeks on Hashem Melech. It's on the same page, right? The sheet, if you have this sheet in front of you, you have Hashem Melech, Hashienu, and Likutei Sichos. It's the last three pieces before Baruch She'amar. Now, what do we know about location? We know about location that this is the world of Asiya. That this is the world of Asiya. Now, does anybody believe in Hashgacha Pratis? Especially today. Did you learn today's Tanya? Today's Tanya. It's a long one and it's a hard one. I'm not going to hold it against you. But if you learn today's Tanya is exactly about how I explained to you Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech when we learned it. And it's going to matter now also. Okay? If you could remember earlier this winter, when we learned Hashem Melech, I explained to you as follows. You're students in a Chassidish yeshiva, in a Chabad Chassidish yeshiva, which means that you dabble in Kabbalah, right? You come across Kabbalah language in your learning, because it's one of the things we learn. We learn Chassidus, and in learning Chassidus, we touch on concepts in Kabbalah. And one of the concepts that we discuss in Kabbalah is the concept of the 10 Sfiras. Remember that? The 10 Sfiras. So here is the point that I've been making. 10 Sfiras are not a world. Just like a brain and a heart is not a person. The 10 Sfiras, Chochmah, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod, Malchus, are all in your brain, or at best, in your brain and in your heart. A world is not 10 Sfiras, just like a person is not a brain. A world is a body, with arms and legs and skin and hair and nails, as it's described in the Tanya. At the center of a person is a brain. And in today's Tanya, Chov Zayin Oder Sheni, in the Ibriyar cycle, which is a long piece. Every Wednesday this year is a very long Tanya, because of the year that the Rebbe made the Moirashir with Shabbos. Every Wednesday we have a very long Tanya. Today's Tanya talks about neshamas leaving this world and going up to heaven. When neshamas leave this world and they go up to heaven, they don't go into Gan Eden. They don't. There's no room for them in Gan Eden. They go into the world. The world of Bria, the world of Yetzirah, the world of Asiya, based on the world from which they came. But in the center of that world, there's a Beis HaMikdash. Each world has a center. The center of the world is the Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash, that's Gan Eden. And in the Beis HaMikdash, their Torah and mitzvahs are deposited. Yeah, you're living. Baruch Hashem, you're alive and well. We're all alive and well. We learn Torah and do mitzvahs. Hopefully we do it with kavana. The Torah and the mitzvahs we do go up to our world and they're deposited in the Beis HaMikdash. The center. We don't live in the Beis HaMikdash. We live in the world. If you want to understand a world like a person, our Torah mitzvahs go into the brain of Elam HaBriya, the brain of Elam HaYetzirah, the brain of Elam HaAsiyah. We, the people and the animals, which means the neshamas and the malachim of each world, are not allowed into the Beis HaMikdash. Beis HaMikdash doesn't have any doors, but it has windows. And the Torah mitzvahs we did, which we deposit into the Beis HaMikdash, shines through the windows, and it comes to us. And we have begodim, we have malbushim, we have garments. The Torah mitzvahs that we did are garments. And it brings to us the light of the Torah mitzvahs that we did. So there's a world, and then in the center of that world, there's the holiness of that world. Just like there's a person, and the center of a person is his brain, or her brain. The neshama rests in the brain, and from the brain it radiates to the whole person. Every world is the same way. Okay, now, if from Hareini Makabel, right? From the beginning of the Siddur, from the time you come to Shul and you ask Hashem permission to enter, and you thank Hashem for giving you permission, as I told you this many times, in many customs, there's a tradition to say as you walked into the Shul, we enter into the house of God, we walk to the house of God with emotion. We say every morning in Matevu, thank you for letting me into your space. We come into a shul and we daven. So from Hareini Makabel Alai Mitzvahs Aseh Shafter Rechamecha, which is on page whatever the Siddur, until this page is Asiya. Asiya is a dynamic place. Asiya is a world. the center of that world, the godliness of that world, is called the Beis HaMikdash, the temple of that world. The center of that world, the godliness of that world, is called the Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. The center of that world, the godliness of that world, is called the Holy of Holies. In Asiyah, it's Hashem Melech. It's this. When we say these words, which we learned 3 months ago or 2 months ago, these are the Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech. This goes on the godliness of Asiyah. This is a concept which is brought in Kabbalah, and I explained it to you with all kinds of Muslims that do with the Nekudes. The original source, we read it from the Sefer, which is called, from a Siddur, of Reb Shmuel Vital, whose name I don't remember at the moment. The bottom line is, we understand that as we get to the end of Asiyah, you're going into the Beis HaMikdash. Meaning, if davening is a ladder, it's a ladder with many rungs. Basically, there's 4 rungs: Asiyah, Yetzirah, Bria, Atzilus. Until Baruch She'amar is Asiyah. Beginning with Baruch She'amar is Yetzirah. At the end of Asiyah, you're in the highest level within Asiyah itself. So when we read Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach a couple of months ago, this piece, we're now doing this piece. In this piece, I explained to you based on Sfarim, what's the name of the Siddur of Shmuel Vital? What's it called? Chemdas Yisrael, maybe. Chemdas Yisrael. That this is going on the 10 spheres of Asiyah. Meaning, you're in the lowest world, but in the lowest world itself, you're climbing. The climax, the highest point of the lowest world, is when you come into the 10 spheres. Now, what could this possibly be? If this is the 10 spheres of Asiyah, what's this? So I'm going to tell you my opinion. On the one hand, it's my opinion. On the other hand, it's not my opinion at all, because it's based on what I read in different Sfarim. I couldn't make this up. I'm not smart enough. This is Shem Havaya, and this is Shem Elokim. This is Yud Kei Vavke. This is Shem Elokim. In other words, if from Matoivu, from page whatever it is, 15 in the Siddur, until this, which is, I don't know what page number it is, all these pages, Matoivu and Adon Elam, and Vehiyachad, and Leilam Yehiyadam, and Chavashasar, the Ash, and the Tamid, and the Kteres, and Abayin, and Omakaiman, we've been learning this for years. We've been learning Siddur probably for 10, 12 years here, and we're holding Baruch She'amar finally. If at the very end of Asiyah, Hashem Melech is the Sfiris, is the godliness of Asiyah. What's this? This is Havaya and this is Elokim. Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, Hashem Havaya. This is Elokim. 5 times Elokim. Elokim. There's not mention of Havaya once. So you should ask a question. You're entitled to ask a question. Isn't Shem Havaya, Yud Kei Vavke, higher than Shem Elokim? So if I was writing the Siddur, and I'm not, right? I'm just studying. I'm trying to study it. I would argue that first you should have a Lakim, then you should have a Vaya. The order doesn't make sense. If at the very end of Asiyah, and that's what we're holding, right? Baruch She'amar is the beginning of Yetzirah. If the very, very end of Asiyah, you're entering into the essence of Sfiris, how does this kapitel Tilim, Psalm 68, 67, Lamatzeich ben Ginais, where you only mention Shem Elokim, follow Adei Shem Melech, Adei Shem Malach, Adei Shem Melech Elavad, which is Shem Havaya, which is essence Sfiris of Asiyah? The answer is that it says in Kabbalah, and it's brought in Hasidus, and I read it this morning when I was studying this paragraph, this Pedic, that normally we say that Elokim is lower than Havaya, but there is an Elokim which is higher than Havaya. And Meseches ben Ginei is talking about Hashem's name Elokim, as opposed to Hashem's name Yud Kei Vavke, but the Elokim here is on a higher level than the Havaya. For example, Yitzchak Avinu gave Yankov Avinu a bracha, right? How does he start? Yitzchak Avinu, Isaac, our father, gave Jacob, our father, a blessing. How does he start? V'yiten lecha Elokim Bital Shamayim Mishmani Ha'aretz Reiv Dagav V'Sirish Yiten lecha Elokim. And this question is asked in the Maimorim. If Yitzchak is giving his son a bracha, why does he give a bracha from Shem Elokim? Shouldn't he give a bracha from Shem Havaya? Good question, right? The answer, of course, is, what do you mean? Yitzchak's midah is gevura. Yitzchak is gevura, right? Avraham is chesed, Yitzchak is gevura. So Yitzchak is a bracha using Shem Elokim. Yeah, but Shem Elokim is a name of gevura. And why would Yitzchak, even if his midah is gevura, use a Shem of gevura to give a bracha? Isn't gevura cheap? Isn't gevura contained? Isn't gevura strict? Isn't gevura exact? Isn't gevura judging? Why would he give bracha Shem Elokim? And it answers in the Maimorim that the Shem Elikim of Gevura, in that case, Vitnach Elikim, is higher than Shem Havaya. And I'm going to explain that to you now. We're going to be talking about this now. In other words, I am starting my expose, my understanding of this kapitel, with the study of why here we use Shem Elikim, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem. And that actually, Elikim here is higher than Havaya. In other words, you're going into the Beis HaMikdash of Asiyah, the Holy of Holies of Asiyah. First you meet Shem Havaya, then you meet Shem Elikim, because Elikim is even higher than Havaya. That's what I'm intent on explaining. That's how we're starting our discussion, our discourse on Meseches Kinim, which is what I'm teaching you. That here, Elikim comes after Havaya, because Elikim is higher than Shem Havaya. How? How is Shem Elikim higher than Shem Havaya? So first of all,
is it just in this case?
In some cases, there's other cases. It's more than one. Yitel Elikim is the second case. There are instances where Shem Elikim is explained to be higher than Shem Havaya. How? First of all, Gevura isn't bad. Gevura isn't bad. Gevura is just exact. Yeah, Gevura walks in the street and he sees a beggar. So you know what he does? He judges. If the beggar is a beggar because he's a loser and lazy and an addict, he says, you did it to yourself, I'm not helping you. But if Gevura walks in the street and sees somebody who's down on his luck and judges and determines that this person is really, it's not his fault or her laziness, so he gives. And when Gevura gives, he gives with strength. He gives more than chesed. Gevura is exact. He's not mean. He's exact. He's precise. So if you don't deserve, you're not going to get. But when you do deserve, Gevura doesn't hand out dollar bills. You understand? Chesed gives dollar bills to everybody. Gevura hands out hundreds to the worthy. It's called takboidus. Yitzchak's midas Gevura. He gives Yankov Avinu a bracha of Yitnach Elikim. Because Elikim, when Elikim gives, he gives more than Havaya. And the Elikim of this kapitel, Psalm 67, Elikim Yechaneni Vivarcheinu, Yar Pona Vitanu Selo Das, Barzim Yiducham Elikim, Yiducham Kolum. Elikim. The Elikim over here, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem, is Gevura, which is higher than Chesed. It's godliness, which is even higher than Shem Havaya. I threw an idea at you. And for some of you it's new. That there's a Shem Elikim which is higher than Shem Havaya. Rosh Hashanah we're judged. You know what they do in a court of law?
Yeah.
They have a prosecuting attorney and a defense attorney.
Right.
What's the difference between the two? The prosecutor's job is to take your individual actions that are not good and point them out. The defense attorney's job is not to say he's a liar, because he's not lying. The defense attorney is saying, don't look at one action, look at the whole person. That's the difference between Gevura and Chesed. Nobody wants to be judged. Judgment, the biggest tzaddik, doesn't pasuk. The biggest tzaddik is judged, there's fault in every person. It's a fact. Gevura judges. Now, it says in Chassidus that when Mashiach comes, we're going to be holding by the Madrega Gevura. We'll be at such a high level that our bad we'll be able to handle it, right? In the story of Korach and Moshe, Korach was Levi. Levi is Gevura. Aaron is Chesed. Korach is screaming, I'm better than Aaron. And Moshe says, you are, but not now, after Mashiach comes. Judgment is true, but it hurts. It hurts. So, the idea of Shem Elikim showing you your faults to make you improve yourself is a little complicated. Okay, but we're not talking about that here. The Elikim over here is not about judgment. The Elikim over here is about a level of godliness which is so high that it cannot be revealed. It's a Elikim which is higher than Shem Havaya. This is what we're discussing. So it's not about judgment. Because if it's about judgment, it ain't good. We don't want to be judged. Now, I said, yes, that there's a concept of Yitzchak. Yitzchak is giving Yankov a bracha, that when you deserve, you get a lot. But in this case, it's deeper than that. It's not only that Yitzchak is judging Yankov, and he sees that Yankov is a tzaddik, so he's giving him a lot of brachas. The name Elikim here means a level of godliness which is above revelation, which I'm going to explain in a moment. You walk in the street, and you see a beggar sitting on a grate. He's sitting on a grate because underneath the ground there's a train, and it's producing heat. Now that heat is an exhaust. It's very unhealthy to breathe that air. but he's cold and it's the winter, so he's sitting on the grate and he's got his cup out and he's asking people for money. And you walk by, what is your instinctive response? It's to feel bad. Unless you're pathological, unless you're sick. The basic human response is to feel bad. Why? He's human and you're human. You relate to him. If it was an animal, a mammal, that was desperate and was crying out, you would also feel bad because, I hate to use these words, you're closely enough related to him that his physiological communications of his emotional and physical state resonate with you. You understand when an animal says, I'm in pain, even though it doesn't use words. You understand when an animal says, I'm hungry. But if it was a mollusk, if it was a crab, and the crab is crying in pain, you would know the crab is crying in pain because it doesn't speak a language which in any way, shape, or form resonates with you. So you feel another creature, another human being, because of their proximity to you. You feel their pain, you relate to their pain, and you want it to go away. Now, psychologically, what you really are afraid of is when you see another human being's pain, it makes you appreciate your own vulnerability. That could be me in an instant. So there's a selfishness to it. You meet a stranger, you've never seen him before. That stranger is at a disadvantage, right? They're pathetic. It's a rachmanis on them. That's the language we would use. Your instinctive response is to do whatever you can to make that pain go away. That's called chesed. The Zohar says famously, and it's brought in many places in Hasidus, every emotion begins with love. Chesed, ozel, and kula yemen. Every emotion begins with love. Why? Because love means connection. Love means relatedness. The most superficial emotion is love. The most superficial emotion is I see another human being or animal even going through a certain experience and I relate to it. That's chesed. And I want to fix it. And you could even say that when I'm going to give that other person $1, I'm really giving it to myself. I want that pain to go away because that pain makes me feel vulnerable. Okay? So you walk by a grate, you see a pathetic person, a needy person, a broken person, a hungry person, a human being who was once in kindergarten and loved by his mommy and his tati, and now he's an adult or she's an adult and they're a failure. They haven't made it. They can't take care of themselves. They need other people to give them gifts. They're living on the street. And your first response is to feel bad and to do an act of kindness. That's chesed. Okay? You're walking in the street. You walk by a person sitting on a grate and they're begging for alms. And your first instinct is to help them. And they say, wait a minute, I know you. I went to school with you. We were classmates. Look at me and look at you. I don't understand. We were in the same volleyball team. We both went to camp together. How come you're like this and I'm like this? You wasted your opportunity. I remember what you did in high school. You got involved with drugs. You stopped coming to school. So you are where you are, and I am where I am because of the choices I made and the choices you made. This is Gvura. And you emotionally say, not necessarily with words, I got what's coming to me, you got what's coming to you. You're judging. You're not judging with your heart. Your heart looks at that person and says, whew! Thank God I was good in high school. Thank God I didn't do the wrong things. The judgment includes not just that person's failure, but your own success. So when you look at that person, you say, I know you. And you're in this position because of the poor choices you made. And forgive me for saying these words. What you got, you made a bed, sleep in it. What you got, you earned. This is your life because of the mistakes, because of the stupid choices that you made. And you don't help them. You don't help them because emotionally it's righteous that you should have what you have and they should have what they have. That's called Gvura. Are you mean? Are you bad? Are you cruel? No. You're just honest. You with me so far? You walk by a grate. There's a person sitting on a grate. Your first instinct is to help that person. Your second instinct is, this person is where they are because of the stupid choices they make. They deserve to be there. And your third instinct is this: if I was that person, I would be as guilty as sin, but I would want someone to help me. That's called the rachamim. That's called teferes. Meaning, chesed says, I give that person because I want pain to go away. Gvura says, no, the world is fair. And the rachamim says, it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. The person needs help, I have to help them. Those are the three primary emotions. Chesed. So mystically, chesed is the most superficial. To use fancy words, chesed is chesed, gevura is emes, and teferes is emes lamitay. Chesed is kind, gevura is honest, and teferes is absolutely honest. Absolute honesty means, this moment, this person needs my help, and I'm going to help them, even if they did it to themselves, because that's the right thing to do. Okay, so I gave you an expose in chesed, gevura, teferes. Okay? We're talking about Hashem's name, Elikim, which means concealment. But we're dealing with Hashem's name, Elikim, which is higher than Shem Havaya. And I'll tell you how. It's very simple. One of the big problems that Torah has, and one of the big problems that Jewish theology has, and one of the big problems that Hasidus has, is what should you call God? What is the right word to describe Hashem? What word would best describe Him?
There are no words.
There are no words. Because a word has to describe.
Yes. It's about
It's about form. A word has a meaning. And a meaning expresses what something is, but by expressing what it is, you're also expressing what it is not. When it comes to God, God is not anything that is limited in any way, shape, or form. There really are no words to denote Him. But there are so many words that mean God, right? Beginning with the Tanakh. In Tanakh, Hashem has 7 names. Kel, Elikim, Havaya, Tzvois, Shakai, Adnai, Ekyeh. Correct? Hashem has many names. In Halacha, He has 7 names. In Kabbalah, He has 10 names. So how can Hashem have names if He's not entitled to names? The answer, it says in the Medrash, is that Kifi Masayani Nikra, that the names of Hashem are not describing what that He is, they're describing what He does. My name is Yosef Yitzchak. My name is not describing one action. It's describing my soul, my infinity. I can do 1,000 actions. It's called the Shem Etzem. My name is not describing what I do. My name is describing who I am. Hashem's names don't describe what He is, because there is no name for that. Hashem's name describes what He's doing, what He's relating to the world. It's very complicated. It's very, very involved. There's a lot of Hasidus on it. The Tzemach Tzedek has an essay called Shadish Mitzvah Tefillah. I have it online if you want to listen to it, where he spends prakim upon prakim upon prakim dealing with this question of the names of God. How do you understand the names of Hashem? The names of Hashem are not describing what He is by Himself. The names of Hashem are describing Him in His relationship with the world. Now, you get through that. If the names of Hashem are not describing what He is, the names of Hashem are describing what He does, yeah? Now, but is there a name for what He is? After that. Chazak, the names of Hashem describe what He does. Is there a name that describes what He is by Himself? You have come across in your learning the term Atzmus, right? Sometimes we call Hashem Atzmus. Atzmus Amhus. What does that mean, Atzmus? How is that a word that denotes HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How does it mean Hashem? So I've told this to you many times. The translation of the word Etzem, Atzmi, Atzmoi, Atzmus is anything in its relationship with itself. When you call Hashem Atzmus, what you're saying is this word means not Hashem's relationship with the world, but Hashem as He is by Himself. In other words, Atzmus is the opposite of the Midrashic definition of the names of Hashem. If the names of Hashem are describing what He's doing, Hasidus and Kabbalah have found a term that means Him, not what He's doing, as He is by Himself. The translation of the word Atzmus means Hashem as He is alone. So what do we know about that? We only know one thing, that as Hashem is alone, it's different, it's more than as Hashem is in relationship with the world. That makes sense. So we will use the term atzmus or atzmus imhus, and again, I'm going to give you my technical translations. Atzmus means Hashem as He is by Himself, and mahus means the substance of that, the richness of what Hashem is by Himself. So we use the word atzmus precisely to say that there are things about Hashem that we cannot know, and there are things about Hashem that we can know. What can we know about Hashem? What He gave us in the world. What can we not know about Hashem? What He didn't give us in the world. So the ideas of Hashem that are not involved in the creation, we call atzmus. Okay? You follow? So we're looking for language. We're always looking for words that are going to properly or adequately or somewhat denote mean God in a way that actually makes sense. Where A, it makes sense, B, it's true. So the names of Hashem, the way it's written in Medrash, are not describing His by Himself. The names of Hashem are describing Him in His relationship with the world. Right? When Chassidus wants to use a word that means Hashem, that's not related to the world, they use the word Atzmas Amos. And the Rebbe spoke 100 times about the fact that even Atzmas Amos is not a proper name for Hashem, because we don't begin to know what it means, God. So it's a very, very long story. Okay? Now, I want to tell you one more name of Hashem that's used in Chassidus and Kabbalah, okay, and that is this. In some places in Chassidus, when they want to talk about God, they use the expression Helem Ha'atzmi. Helem, if you want to write it down, is Hey Ayin Lamed Mem. Ha'atzmi is Hey Ayin Tzadik Mem Yud Mem. Or Helem Be'etzem. There's a number of different forms. Helem Ha'atzmi. Helem Ha'atzmi, or Helem B'yetzim. Now, what do these words mean? There's actually a mimer from the Rebbe, Mugad Dikamam, where the Rebbe quotes the term Helem Ha'atzmi, and he writes in the footnote, this is the expression used in many Maimorim. You're trying to describe Hashem, which you cannot do. The names of Hashem found in Tanakh are describing His relationship with the world. If you want to use a word that denotes Hashem with no relationship with the world, we in the Chabad culture use the word atzmos, although it's very complicated. Another term which is found in the Maimorim is Helem Ha'atzmi, hidden in relation. The translation of the words Helem Ha'atzmi means hidden in relationship with self. And I want to explain this to you. What is the meaning of revelation? Gilui means something goes from a giver to a receiver, and the receiver gets it. Revelation is not defined by the revealer, it's defined by the revealee. I'm teaching you. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm wasting my time and your time. I'm not revealing. Revealing is determined by the recipient. Gilui has a last name. Revelation has a last name. Gilui's last name is El Hazulas. You reveal to somebody else. And the trademark of Gilui is I'm revealing to somebody else, and the somebody else gets it. Do you understand that? Simple concept. What's the opposite of Gilui? Revealed. Hidden. Hello. Right? What does hidden mean? You don't see it. Why don't you see it? A, you don't have eyes. You don't have the eyes. You're not sensitive. B, there's a blockage. Right? So Gilui means I'm revealing something to you and you're getting it. Hela means I'm trying to reveal something to you, but it's not getting to you. Either it's not getting to you because you don't have the eyes, or it's not getting to you because I'm blocking it, right? But the opposite of Gilui is Hela. So Chassidus makes a philosophical argument that says Hela is the beginning of Gilui. Before something is revealed, it's hidden. Before I teach it to you, I think about it first. Okay, and if you want to use fancy schmancy words, Gilui is Mamala Kalalman, and Helem is Seviv Kalalman. Before something is revealed, it's hidden. Meaning, I want to teach you. Before I teach, I prepare. When I'm preparing, I don't yet have the language which I'm going to talk to you. At that stage, the idea is that I'm going to teach you later in a state of hidden, but hidden is the beginning of revealed. Hidden is the beginning of revealed. Meaning to say, it has to do with you, but it's not getting to you. If it has to do with you and it gets to you, that's Gilui. If it has to do with you, it doesn't get to you, it's called Helem. You follow so far? So far so good, or this is too much? Are we good?
Yeah.
Now, then there's a third idea. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. There's nothing to do with you. If it has nothing to do with you, you can't call it Helem. because Helam means it's hidden from you. It's called Helam B'yetzim, Helam Ha'atzmi. Helam B'yetzim means I'm hidden not because I'm hiding. I'm hidden not because you cannot see me. I'm hidden not because I'm blocking. I'm hidden because I exist only for me. So we have 3 words, girls, 3 words. Gilui, Helam, and Helam Ha'atzmi. Helam means I'm hidden from you. Helam Ha'atzmi means I'm hidden because it's just about me. I'm not hiding, it's just you don't see me. Not you don't see me because I'm hiding, you don't see me because I'm existing in relationship with myself. Did you understand the translation of those 3 words? You understood the translation of 3 words? Okay, now you speak.
If we are limited in the God, same with the word God. And like all these words, a almighty, all words, like if we call it this way, God, am I limiting him? And if yeah, why can I do this?
The why can I do it? Because I don't have a choice. I have no bread. I have no choice. I have to identify him. And when I don't have a word which correctly identifies him, so I borrow a word which identifies him a little bit. You have no choice. Again, Halacha, Torah does it. The Chumash does it. God himself does it.
But I don't myself limit the God?
You're not limiting the God, no. You're saying, because I don't have the right word to use, I'm going to use the wrong word, but I'm going to know it's the wrong word. I'm going to say I'm using this word even though it's not the right word because I have to use some word. You understand? Right. So now, the names of Hashem in Tanakh are proper names, right? If you have a Sefer Torah, and the Sefer Torah becomes puzzle, you scratch off the word and you fix it, right? Bereshis, if there's a problem with the base of Bereshis, you scratch the base, rewrite it, yeah? What if there's a problem with the word Elikim, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem? You're not allowed to erase it. You have to cut out the piece of parchment, paste another piece in the back and rewrite it, because you're not allowed to erase Hashem's name. So Hashem has 7 names, holy names in Tanakh, that you're not allowed to erase, which means they're describing him, even though we know they're not describing him, they're describing his relationship with us. So Torah gives Hashem names and says these names are holy, even though they're not describing him, they're describing his relationship with us. In later Svarim, like in Chassidus, we create new names. We call them Atzmos. You're allowed to erase the word Atzmos. Atzmos doesn't tell us what he is. Atzmos simply means how he is by himself. You understand?
Yeah.
So now I'm giving you another term to put into your box of names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Helam Ha'atzmi means Hashem is hidden. Not because he's hiding. Hashem is hidden because he's by himself. Helam, there's Helam, there's Gilui, Helam, and Helam Ha'atzmi. There are 3 levels. Gilui means revealed. That means it's reaching us. Helam means it's hidden. Means it's supposed to reach us and hasn't gotten to us. And Helam Ha'atzmi means Hashem is hidden not because he's hiding, but because we don't see him. So now, Kinderlach, I want you to think about this. Okay? When we juxtapose the name Hashem and the name Elikim, normally Hashem means Hashem is giving. And Elikim means Hashem is judging. But it's brought in Chassidus, and I'm assuming it is in Kabbalah, although I can't be sure, that there's another level, where it's the other way around. Hashem means the God that you could see, and Elikim means the God that you cannot see. And when you flip it around, Elikim becomes higher than Shem Havaya. Havaya means godliness revealed. How much? The maximum that you can get. Elikim means the godliness that you cannot know. It's not revealed, but it's not hidden either. It's he as he is by himself. It's called Helam Ha'atzmi. Hashem, as he's not hiding from us. How he exists only in relationship with self, we don't know him. Not we don't know him because he's hidden and concealed, we don't know him because we don't have any ability to relate to Atzmos, to Hashem as he is by himself. This is this concept of a name Elikim, which is higher than a name Havaya. It's all upside down. Havaya means Hashem is revealed. How much? Ain't safe, but revealed to us. And then there's Elikim, which is not revealed. Not only is it not revealed, it's not even hidden. It's how he is by himself. There's 3 things. Gilui, Helam, and Helam Ba'etzem. There's revealed. There's he wants to be revealed, but we're not getting him. and then there is he is how he is by himself. He is as he is by himself is not revealed, it's not revealed, it's not hidden, it's just who he is. Now, I guess this is a hard concept to understand a little bit, yeah? So let me give you an example. I want to give you examples. Simple proste examples. I use the word proste as it's understood in Russian, not in Yiddish. Benign examples. Neutral. Simple examples. Just think about these examples. I want you to think about these examples. Adin Even Yisrael, who's now deceased, unfortunately. Rabbi Adin Even Yisrael, one of the great masters of Torah, the great geniuses of our generation. And a very big activist, he's a soldier of the Rebbe, no doubt about it. Wrote a little article on the Rebbe, a short little blurb in a album that came out in the 1970s called HaRebbe. I had it as a child before Bar Mitzvah. And in this little blurb, Adin Even Yisrael writes as follows. People say that the Rebbe is a hidden tzaddik. People say that the Rebbe hides himself. As much as the Rebbe leads, as much as the Rebbe gives, the Rebbe is hiding. There's things about the Rebbe that nobody knows because the Rebbe is hiding. That's what he says. People say the Rebbe is hiding. Says Rabbi Steinzelt, says Rabbi Even Yisrael, and I say he's not hiding at all. It's only that the Rebbe is one of those people that whatever he does only for himself. He's not trying to show. He does whatever he does only for himself. When he davens, it's him and God. He's not thinking about being observed. When he studies Torah, it's him and God. Everything he does only for himself. And then Rabbi Steinzelt says in his genius, when people do things only for themselves, others don't notice. You don't see. You don't see it. Not because it's blocked, not because it's hidden, but because you just don't notice. That's his argument. Rabbi Steinzelt, Rabbi Even Yisrael says, that the Rebbe could do something right in front of you, and you won't even see that he did it. You know why? He's not hiding. He's just a pnimi. He does everything for himself. A pnimi who does everything for himself remains unseen. He's right in front of your nose, and you don't see him. Not you don't see him because he's hidden. You don't see him because he is now in himself. And anybody who's in himself can be right in front of you and you don't notice. That's my first illustration. Now wait, have patience. I have a few more, okay? Numero uno. I'll give you another word, or similar word. There was a chassid whose name was Rabbi Simpson. Rabbi Eli Simpson. He died in 1977. He was a very big chassid. A very big chassid. A Tomim. And Rabbi Simpson had a very big problem. What was his problem? His problem was that he was a chassid of the Rebbe, but he also had a lot of respect for the Rebbe's brother-in-law, who was called the Rashag. The Rebbe's brother-in-law, who was called Rabbi Gerari, Bishmael Gerari, asked Rabbi Simpson to ask the Rebbe something for him. He wanted something from the Rebbe, and he already asked himself, and the Rebbe told him no. So he sent Rabbi Simpson. You understand? The Rebbe's brother-in-law wanted something from the Rebbe didn't want to do it, so he sent Rabbi Simpson. Now Rabbi Simpson had a problem. He couldn't say no to the Rashag, and he wasn't going to ask the Rebbe. So what do you do? Someone comes, I'm going to do me a favor, go and ask Rabbi Majeski something. Now, you want to do what that person wants, but you don't want to ask Rabbi Majeski. So what do you do? Rabbi Simpson walked into the Rebbe's room and didn't say a word. He stood there for a minute and walked out. Later on, the Rebbe's brother-in-law, the Rashag, went into the Rebbe and said, so what does the Rebbe think about my proposal? And the Rebbe says, I already told you no. So the Rashag says to the Rebbe, but I sent Rabbi Simpson. I sent Rabbi Simpson. And the Rebbe sits up like this and says, I'll say it in Yiddish. Is rein und hat geschwiegen. Aber tiefen Schweig. Is rein und hat geschwiegen. Aber tiefen Schweig. Which means in English, he came in. He didn't say anything. He didn't say a word. But his silence was deep. His silence spoke. He came into the room, he stood, didn't say a word, and walked out. But his silence spoke. Atif mishvaig. In other words, he didn't say anything, but his not saying was so much. I'm trying to give you, Mishalom, examples for the idea of what it means. Something can be right in front of you and you don't see it. You don't see it not because it's hiding or it's blocked, but because it's not trying to be seen. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a third story. I'm trying to illustrate to you, using simple Mishalom, plain Mishalom, this mystical concept called Helam Ha'atzmi. How Hashem is hidden, not because he's hiding. Hashem is hidden because he exists in relationship with himself. Okay, here's the third story. In the city of Tel Aviv, in the 1940s, there was a civil war. There was a war. When Israel declared itself an independent state, so the Arabs rose up, they tried to destroy us. And at some point in the city of Tel Aviv itself, there were snipers on both ends of the street. One sniper was an Arab, one sniper was a Jew. Whoever walked out was shot. If a Jew walked out, an Arab shot him. If an Arab walked out, a Jew shot him. So you couldn't walk in the street. There was a Yid who lived in Tel Aviv that everybody knew. I don't know how this is possible. Everybody knew he was a hidden tzaddik. Okay, if everybody knows how he was a hidden tzaddik, but he was a shoemaker by profession. He was a shoemaker by profession. But he was pure and beautiful and holy and sweet and a tzaddik. They had a little girl, him and his wife had a little girl, and she was starving, they had no food. So he says to his wife, I'm going to go to the bakery and get bread. So she says to him, if you go to the bakery, you're not coming back, they're going to shoot you. The street, you can't walk in the street. So he tells his wife in Yiddish, I won't see them and they won't see me. I won't see them and they won't see me. He went to the bakery, he got the bread, he came home, no bullet holes. He didn't see them and they didn't see him. Now what does this story mean? I won't see them and they won't see me.
Like Hashem.
Now the simple pshat, he was a tzaddik. Tzaddikim could do super stuff, yeah? But let's be psychological. Let's just say psychologically, yeah? If there is a war. You know what a war is? A war is very simple. Kill or be killed. Not complicated. There's no nuance. There's no psychology over here. Yeah? And somebody sees a soldier running. What does he see? Does he see the person or does he see his fear? His pachad. It's a psychological paz. That's all it is. Maybe when you see another person in the street, you're seeing not his physical body, but his emotions, his chemicals, his feelings. He says to his wife, I won't be afraid of them. And I'm going to be invisible to them. Now, I'm not saying that that's the meaning of the story, but it's an insight. It's a meditation. It's a way of thinking about it. You don't have to hide to be hidden. You have to just not be seen. What do you have to not be seen? To go into yourself. Now we can't do that, right? If there's bullets flying from windows and I'm walking in the street, I'm very aware of the bullets. I'm full of fear. This man had such control over his mood that he wasn't seen because he didn't see them. Again, I'm not saying that that's what the true meaning of the story is, but it's a contemplation. It's something to consider. It's a way of understanding his story. So what I'm trying to say to you is, girls, there's revealed that you see, there's hidden that you're prevented from seeing, and then there is not revealed and not hidden. And you don't see it. If it's not revealed and not hidden, why don't you see it? Because it's withdrawn. It's right in front of your nose, and you don't see it. Because the right words, because it's sneistic, it's modest. When something exists in relationship with itself, someone else doesn't notice. Okay? Now, my fourth story, and this is just funny, but I told it to you before. A woman goes over to the Rebbe by dollars. We talked about this in the Sichos classes. Yeah. The Rebbe's giving dollars was not normal. The Rebbe stood for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours on a Sunday, giving out miracles. Brachas. It was unreal. In one Sunday, the Rebbe could have given out 100 children. Mamish. It was Nisam Gluyim. He would heal the sick. He would give childless couples children. He would give people without parnasa money. It was nisim gluyim. Unbelievable. And a lady walks over to the Rebbe and she says to the Rebbe, quote, the Rebbe should reveal himself. She meant to say the Rebbe should reveal himself as Mashiach. So the Rebbe went like this. What does this mean?
How am I supposed to reveal myself if you're not looking?
There's never been a tzaddik more revealed than I am right now. And you don't see? A yid should stand and give out godliness to thousands of people. Mamish, dollars was unbelievable. It was mamish kavakoras reya edre. What Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to do, and Yisrael talked him down. That's what the Rebbe did on Sunday. He stood in a public place and he gave bracha v'atzlocha, bracha v'atzlocha. But he was giving out health, and he was giving out panos, he was giving out nachas, he was giving out arichas yavim, he was giving out whatever a person wanted. And someone says the Rebbe should reveal himself. So what does the Rebbe say to her? It's not my problem that you can't see. I should reveal myself. I've never been more revealed than I am right now. Dollars was greater than Yechidus. Yechidus, you went in alone to the Rebbe in a private conversation. Dollars was mamish, mass production. Every person got 2 seconds. And every dollar is a bracha, every dollar is a nes, every dollar is mamish alakus. And the lady says the Rebbe should reveal himself. Ta-da! Now you see. See, there's hidden, there's revealed, there's hidden, and then there's something called not seen. But it's not seen because it's hidden. It's not seen because it's withdrawn. It's in self. That is the meaning of the words Helem Ha'atzmi. Hashem is hidden because he's in himself. But he's not hiding. Hashem is hidden because he's not hiding, he's completely revealed. You don't see him. Why? Because you need to see chemicals. You need to see pheromones. You need to see a response. You need to see something interactive. When Hashem goes into himself, you don't see him because you need to feel him touching you. And he's not touching you, he's being by himself. Did you understand?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the word Symptom?
Yeah. Yes.
Heard of Symptom yet? Who invented the term Symptom? It's a complicated story, but forgive me for making it simple. The Arizal. The Arizal introduced the idea of what's called the idea of Symptom you have in Zohar, but Symptom Rishon, the Arizal invented the principle of the first Symptom. The principle of the first Symptom is a very powerful idea. And the foundation, the basis for the principle of the first Symptom is a phenomena which is called Mokoim, space. If Hashem is going to go away, he has to go away from some place. You can't have Tzimtzum if there's no Mokoim. This gets lost on a lot of people, and therefore they get very confused. The Lurianic idea, the Arizal's idea, which is called Symptom, is predicated that there is a space where Hashem is planning to make the world, and he evacuates, he goes out. You understand? You've heard the term, right? You've heard the term Symptom, yes? Yeah? Everybody knows. Everyone here is familiar with the term Symptom, right? And there's a very big argument about this question of Symptom. The Arizal says very plain, when Hashem wanted to create the world, he first created a space. He doesn't even say it, but it's self-understood, and he evacuated that space, and inside that space Hashem is not. And then inside that space where Hashem is not, Hashem created the world. So far so good. What is the argument? When Hashem evacuated the space, did he actually leave?
No.
There's really a much more fundamental question. Hashem doesn't have space. If he doesn't have space and he creates space, does the space exist to him or only to us? It's very complicated. There's a bunch of very big rabbis screaming at each other for the last 300 years. This is one of the big machlokes and Chassidim and Mistagdim was on this question of Tzimtzum. Hashem created a space and he evacuates himself from that space, and in that space, did he actually leave? Is the question. And there's 4 different opinions. 1, 2, 3, 4. As many as there could possibly be. How do you have 4 different opinions about one question? Leave it to the rabbis. But here you got 4 opinions. Okay, now. And the Mekubalim, there's a big tumult in the greatest Kabbalists, Mamish, the holiest and the greatest people argued about this question. The Alter Rebbe, our first Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe was Miyaseh Chassidus Chabad, came up with a radical idea about this question of tzimtzum. A radical that no one before him said, as far as I know. Okay, now I'm going to repeat myself a second time. What is the principle of tzimtzum? That there's space. If there's no space, there's no such thing. And that tzimtzum is vis-a-vis in relationship with that space. And again, one of the things brought in Sfarim is, but Hashem doesn't exist in space, so he can't leave it. He created the space is relative. It exists to us and doesn't exist to him, and so forth. But putting that aside, the principle of tzimtzum is there is a space, a mokoim, and Hashem evacuates the space, and different Kabbalists have different opinions about whether he's there. Tzimtzum kipshutei or tzimtzum shalei kipshutei. Is the tzimtzum literal, that he literally evacuated the space, or tzimtzum shalei kipshutei didn't evacuate the space? The Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of the Adi, in the Sefer Torah Eid, says something that none of the Mukubalim said. And it's very powerful and very important and relevant to us right here, right now, in this conversation that we're having. And I want you to understand, the entire class today is on one word. How Elokim is higher than Avaya. That's our whole conversation. The Alter Rebbe makes the following assertion, that the whole question of Tzimtzum, the Lurianic idea, the Arizal introduces us to a Kabbalistic concept of Tzimtzum. The prerequisite to Tzimtzum is Mokum. You can't have Tzimtzum without Mokum. It has to be space. And he's evacuating that space. And the Mukubalim discuss whether he did leave the space or didn't leave the space, or it makes it appear like he left the space. Like I said before, 4 opinions. Says the Alter Rebbe, the entire debate is only about Oyer and Seif, about godliness, about God's revelation, about God's light. God's Gilui and God's Helib. Mamal Kalam and a Seif of Kalam. What about God himself? What he calls Mo'er, the source for light? Or we'll call in this conversation, Helem Ha'atzmi, how Hashem is hidden in relationship with self. I said, Helem Ha'atzmi, Hashem is hidden, but he's not hiding from you. He's not hiding from anybody. He's present in a state of etzem. He's withdrawn into himself. He's right in front of your nose and you don't see him, not because he's hiding, but because he's not attempting to be seen. And the Alter Rebbe says these words. This is a classic Chabad original idea. Adrabah hamo'er hu b'hizgalos. It's 4 words. Adrabah, to the contrary, hamo'er, that means the source, hu b'hizgalos, is more revealed than ever. What happens to the sun when you take away its light? You could look at it, right? When there's an eclipse, a partial eclipse, a complete eclipse, if you try to look into the sun, it'll burn your cornea, it'll hurt your eyes. But if you can take a glass, make it completely black, that absorbs all the light, you can look directly at the sun. When the light is removed, you can see the source. Says the Alter Rebbe, when Symptom happens, God is revealed. Because Symptom has nothing to do with God, it has only to do with godliness. So when the Arizal said that when Hashem created the world, he created a space, in a circle, in a glob, in a ball, in an eagle, and he took himself out of it, and all the Kabbalists argue about what this means, says the Alter Rebbe, the entire argument is only about Oyer, about revelation. Or in the purposes of our conversation, Gilui and Helen, Mamal Kalam and a Seif of Kalam. What about Hashem himself? Helen Ha'atzmi. This is the term I'm teaching you today, right? The 2 new terms that I'm teaching you today is Helen Ha'atzmi, hidden, but not hidden from you. Hidden because he's withdrawn into himself. Says the Alter Rebbe, Hashem is never more revealed than at the moment of Tzimtzum. When God takes away the light, you know what's left? God. And he's completely revealed. And what do you see? I'm asking you a question. Nothing. But if he's revealed, how come you don't see him? Or to say differently, if I don't see him, why is he revealed? The answer is because he's taken his hands off his face. Ta-da! So how come I don't see? You don't see because you need to see chemicals. You need to see movement. You need to see dynamism. You need to see change. You need to see relationships. You need to be interaction. Hashem, as he is by himself, is completely revealed, and we don't see him not because he's hiding, but because we don't have because his existing is withdrawn into himself. It's a very important idea in Chabad theology that Hashem himself is not a part of Kabbalah. He's not. Kabbalah talks about godliness, not about God. And when you're talking about God, Hashem is here and He's completely revealed, and everybody sees Him, and no one sees Him at all, because He's not hiding. He's not revealing Himself, but He's not hiding Himself. He's existing in relationship with itself. It's called Helem Ha'atzmi. Helem Be'etzim. I'm hidden, but I'm not hidden from you. I'm hidden because I'm in myself. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah? Yeah? This is called Elikim. Elikim, not Havaya. Elikim Yechanenu V'Yivarchenu. Yiduch Am Elikim, Yiduch Am Kulam. Yisbuch V'Ral, right? Eretz Nasne V'Yivarchenu Elikim. Yivarchenu Elikim. It's called Elikim. This name Elikim is hidden, but not because it's hiding. It's not Gvura. We experience it as Gvura. Why do we experience it as Gvura? Because we don't see Him. But it's not Chesed, it's not Gevura, it's not Teferes. It's how He is by Himself. So now, when Yitzchak gave Yankov Avinu a bracha, and he said, V'yitin l'cha Elikim, that your bracha should come straight from Elikim. There's no greater bracha than that. That's why we say it in Matzah Shabbos. It's a bracha that's coming from godliness, not from godliness, from God that's above the whole idea of having any relationship with the world, as Hashem is entirely by Himself, as He's totally by Himself. So now, girls, if Asiyah starts on page 12 of the Siddur, Areini Makabel Alai, Mitzvah Sasei, Shavyav Lech Kamecha, Matei V'Olecha Yankov, B'Shkinesecha, V'ani B'Reiv Chastecha Ove V'Secha, I'm going to come into your house. Beveis Elihim Nahalach B'Rogish. Hashem lets me into His home, and I'm going to daven to Him. I'm going to talk to Him, and I'm going to go through the world of Asiyah. And at the very end of Asiyah, I'm going to come to the godliness of Asiyah. What's the godliness of Asiyah? First Hashem, and then Elikim. Remember? Hashem, Elikim. Because Elikim over here is higher than Hashem. Hashem means the maximum revelation of God. Elikim means not He's revealed, not He's hidden, He just is. He's in front of your face and you don't see Him. And again, the 4 words in Torah are Adarabah, to the contrary, Hama'ir, the source, Hu His galus. When you take away godliness, the only thing left is God. You should see Him. At the moment of Symptom, the Lurianic idea of Symptom Arishin, Hashem creates space. He evacuates the light from that space. Should be room for a world, says the Alter Rebbe. That's the moment you meet God Himself, as He is by Himself. I cannot tell you how many Maimorim of our Rebbe, this is from our Rebbe's ideas, that says there was never a greater moment in the entire creation than the moment of Tzimtzum Arishin. Because when Hashem took away His light, you know what was left? Hashem. And there was nothing to obstruct it. The light doesn't let you see the sun. When there's no light, you can look straight at the sun. At the moment of Tzimtzum Arishin, at the moment of maximum concealment, you know what you have? Bug. The Eibishter Himself. You understand? And this is called Elikim. Lam Natzeich Ben Gines is about Shem Elikim. Now I want to remind you, 3 weeks ago when we started this, I told you that this is a prayer of Goyim. Why? Because it means concealment. It's still a prayer of Goyim. It says that after Mashiach comes, the Goyim are going to say this, but for a very different reason. Because this Perek is about the idea of godliness which is above revelation. It's not Havaya, it's Elikim, it's Helem Ha'atzmi.
Helem Ha'atzmi is Elikim?
Helem Ha'atzmi, or sometimes Helem Be'etzim. Hidden because He's gone into Himself. Because He is by Himself. Helem Ha'atzmi. In Samach Vav, you have it again and again and again. Helem Ha'atzmi. So a lot of Maimorim, when they want to describe Hashem, they use the word Atzmus or Atzmus Amhus. Atzmus means Hashem as He is by Himself. And sometimes they use the word Helem Ha'atzmi, means He's hidden, but He's not hidden because He's hiding. He's hidden because we don't see. Why don't we see? Because He's Etzem. He's by Himself. And this is Elikim, Elikim Yechanenu V'Yivarchenu. Wow, amazing. You good?
I have a story.
So this is the first thought that came to mind. This is like a thought that came to mind after everything, like relating to people and the self. It's like we were created in God's image, right? So we all have that like etzem, right?
That's right.
And whatever I see of you, whatever I see of her, and that's just like kind of the light that's outwards, but it's almost impossible for someone
to
see. It is impossible for someone to see you, and that's how we're, like, even though we were created in God's image, we're incapable of taking away the light.
Wait, but we can know ourselves on that level.
Yeah.
And that's called health. Most of us live with noise. A friend of mine once told me about a mutual friend. If that person stops to talk, they think they're going to disappear. Should I say it again? You understand? Some people need revelation. They're afraid of etzem. They're afraid of what's underneath. It's illness. It's sickness. I need to make noise. I need to have experiences. I need to have light. I need to be involved with other people. I can't stop talking. I need to be busy. What happens if they withdraw? They go into themselves. What they find inside themselves frightens them. You understand? A healthy person, the previous Rebbe kept a page as a child. The previous Rebbe loved books, Sfarim, and he had a great mind. So he used to read through books by the hundreds. He would just look through books. And every once in a while he would find a quote that he liked, and he had a special page where he wrote them all down. The page is now printed. It's maybe 20 or 30 quotes from different Sfarim at the Frierdiker Rebbe collected from the weirdest books in the world. You never even heard of these Sfarim. And he kept a record of these quotable quotes because he liked them. One of the quotes that was on the Frierdiker Rebbe's list of quotable quotes was Toiva haprishus im habrius va'abedidus b'teich p'nei adam. Toiva haprishus, it's good to be alone amongst people, va'abedidus b'teich p'nei adam, and solitudinous in the community. Toiva haprishus im habrius, you should be by yourself amongst people. And you should have your own private space in the community. What does that mean? It cannot be either or. If I can't be amongst people, I'm sick. If I need to define myself entirely with other people, I'm also sick. So what's health? I'm amongst the people, and then there's my space. And you can't take it from me. Because it isn't a table, it isn't a chair, it's here. Toiva haprishus im habrius. It's very hard to give over in English. Bedidus means solitude. Aloneness, b'toich b'nei adam, amongst other people. You can be in a room full of people, and you can even be in talking to them, and then there's a police of you which is bodod. Hashem bodod yanchenu, v'ein ime el necher. Bodod, all by himself. Solitude, alone. That's our truth. That's our etzem, our essence. That's what the word essence means. Me by myself. Right, and to give you a corollary, Malachim don't have an essence. A Malach has a name, based on what he's doing. Based on his shlichus.
Based on who he is.
No, based on what he's doing. There is no who he is. A Malach is busy doing things. You take away his actions, he disappears.
So he is.
So when Yankov meets the Malach of Esav and asks him his name, in Genesis, in Vayishlach, when Shimshon Agiba's parents meet an angel, Manoach and his wife, and they ask him his name, what do they answer? Why you ask me my name?
What are you doing?
So Rashi says, you cannot ask an angel what his name is, because the entire name of an angel is his function. If you take away from an angel what he does, there's nothing left. But a human being is not an angel. We have an essence. We're in the image of God. That's our aloneness. That's our Elikim. That's higher than Havaya. So in Asiyah, if Hashem Melech, Hashem Molech, Hashem Yimlech is meeting godliness in maximum revelation, Elikim V'chaneinu is meeting the concealment of godliness, which is even higher than that, because it's not hiding, it's not blocked, it's by itself. Isn't that wonderful? It's amazing. I'm not making this up, girls. I'm not making this up. This says in Chassidus. I'm simply delivering it. I have it here in my notes. I can show you my sources. I'm not making one word up. Now, there's one more thing I need to say before I let you go. Okay? And the one more thing I need to say is that this idea has a philosophical allusion. This idea that something is hidden because it exists by itself has a philosophical articulation. The way it's explained in Kabbalah language. Actually, it's really, you can say it's Kabbalah language. And you know what the word that is used to denote this entire hour that we just spent talking about Elokim? The face, panim, which connects it to the menorah that we talked about last week. It connects it to the Birchas Kinim we talked about last week. It connects it to Moshe Rabbeinu's communications with Hashem. Panim. What do you know by looking at a person's face?
Their essence. Nothing.
Nothing and everything. Nothing and everything. The Kabbalistic form for this is mitzvah. In Kabbalah, there's a concept called mitzvah, the forehead and the two cheeks. Okay, the face, the human face, which represents atzilus, represents godliness, has three madregas: big holes, little holes, and a mask. The big holes are the mouth, the biggest hole of all, right? The mouth, the ears, the nostrils, and the eyes. They're holes, big holes. Shayftim v'shaytim titan l'chol sharach. It says in the Sefer Shachal HaTorah, you have 7 gates in your face. The 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, and your mouth. You put a judge in front of those gates about what you let in and what you let out. You follow? They're big holes. And they're actually the lowest level. They're portals. They're windows into the neshama of a person, the eyes of a person, the ears of a person, the nostrils of a person, and the mouth of a person. And then there's little teeny tiny holes. What are little holes? Every hair, right? Every hair is a little straw. It's hollow in the middle. Hair is little teeny straws. And in Kabbalah it's explained that through the hair life comes out of the head. So the big holes are the eyes, the ears, the nostrils, and the mouth. The little holes are the hair. And the third level is the mask. This and this. It's completely hidden, blocked. That's called your panim. Your eyes are not your face. Your ears are not your face. They're sha'orim, they're gates, they let in and out. Your hair is not your face. They let in and out, just a lot less. Or whatever, however you explain what the hair is. Your face means the part of your head that covers, that blocks. And it's called in Kabbalah mitzvah, your forehead. So according to Kabbalah, there's something called mitzvah dezah and mitzvah da'atik. There's a lower face and a higher face. The difference between the lower face and the higher face, the lower face hides everything. See nothing. Nichiva, garnished. The higher face reveals everything. Panim. What does the face of God look like? What's panim? The face of God is called Elokim, girls, not Havai. The face of God either reveals nothing or reveals everything, and it doesn't reveal everything in the way of revelation. It just is. It just bees. Hashem isn't hiding. Hashem isn't revealing. Hashem is existing. Helam ha'atzmi. Right? This is a great story. Ta-da! What do you see now? So we have a new concept here, very important concept, very profound concept. Before you leave the world of Asiya, you meet the face of God. Helam ha'atzmi. The idea that God doesn't reveal, doesn't hide, just exists, and He's completely revealed, and you could miss Him completely. Hashem is totally revealed, and what do you see? You see totally nothing. Why? Because you're busy making noise. You understand? You're busy looking for motion. Right? What do animals do when they're being hunted? What do animals do when being hunted? They run away. What if they can't run away? They stand motionless. They can be right in the open. As long as they don't flick their ear or wag their tail or sneeze, The hunter looks straight at them and doesn't see them. They blink. Boom. Right? This is when something is completely still. He doesn't have to be hidden because he's withdrawn. It's very, very hard to stay still when you're nervous, huh? That's the meaning of I won't see them and they won't see me. Verstehst? That's what we're learning. This entire kapitel is a likim. It's like I said, I started out the conversation by saying it's a prayer for Goyim. You see where we've gone? I'll see you after Pesach, Kinderlach. Okay, Aggada Pesach kosher v'sameach. Thank you all for coming and listening.